And you also said now that this gives you as a result also something which is very visual.
Mm.
And connected to this, your visuals, your slides, another thing I liked very much, which was different, and it is different compared to 99% of presentations we see every day. You had very few slides, but apart from that, they were very, very visual.
Mm.
Just maybe just an image, maybe just a few words, or maybe not even a word, I don't remember now, but very visual. Could you please tell us why that approach to presentation design works better?
Yeah, I read a book by a guy called Lee Jackson called PowerPoint Surgery. Lee doesn't focus so much on PowerPoint these days, but the message stands. And the message was, I think out of everything, the biggest message for me from that book was you give your audience a choice. Do they listen or do they read? Do they engage with you or do they engage with the screen? So the screen is there to complement what you do, not to compete with you for attention. So long bullet point lists, graphs with lots of detail, all of these things detract from the presentation. The slides that you saw, there was one detailed slide. It was a joke slide, like the wheel of life that coaches use. It was the emoticon wheel, and it was how British people respond to different situations. And it just said, fine, thanks, fine, thanks, fine, thanks, 150 times or whatever it is in every segment. So you didn't actually have to study. You got the joke pretty quickly, but that was the most detailed slides. When I told the story, I had an image of the person whose story I was telling. At the end of the story, I shared a quote from them that came onto the image. And that was pretty much the presentation. So I had a backdrop and then a key point coming out in a quote, and I kept those quotes really short. So that was the first time I delivered that talk, so I actually had to go back and read the quotes because I couldn't fit the whole quote on the slides because I wanted to keep it tight. Yeah, for me it's about not complementing, not competing would be the key thing there.
Yeah, you're right. People can't read and listen at the same time, but it's still fascinating, if you want, so surprising for me to see that. Isn't that true? Most presentations, from a visual perspective, they're still full of text and bullet points. Most people don't seem not to get it.
And one of the other things I learned from Lee's book was about bleeding the image. So what you'll see in a lot of presentations, and what I was doing before, was putting a photo onto the slide, but it would be surrounded by white space and the logo and the Twitter handle and the copyright and so on and so forth. Now I bleed the image. So if it's an image-led slides, which most of my slides will be, it will go beyond the actual parameters of the slide itself. So it takes the whole space.
Very powerful.
Has a bigger impact. And I've forgone putting my social media handle on every slide because I don't want to detract from the impact the slide should make.